And now for something completely different.
There's no business like show business. Are we not entertained? Prepare yourself for a little sensory overload. Stand by to roll show intro. Roll show intro in 3, 2, 1, go.
It's showtime! The Craig L. Hayes Show.
Hello, America, family, friends, and listeners all around this planet we call home. This is It's Showtime, the Craig L. Hayes Show. And I am Craig L. Hayes, and the host of this show. We're going to continue having a talk about behind the scenes, talking to people that have worked behind the scenes for many, many years. And today I'm going to have a really good friend on that I've worked with and around for like 45 years. And he came up here to the Northern Command Center to have a little chat with us. And we're going to have a good discussion about everything that goes on in show business. His name is Randy Cardinal. Randy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here with you.
It is awesome having you here. Been wanting to talk to you for a while. So,
Okay.
Well, in this show, as we talk about things, we're going to start in your early days a little bit. You know, what it was like being a kid, wherever you grew up from. I know you were from New York area.
Long Island, actually.
Long Island,
yeah.
gotcha. And you tell a little bit about growing up there, and then I know you had a career in baseball, and then somehow, some way, you fell into show business. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit. Let's start when you're a youngster in.
Well, I was born in Brooklyn. My folks moved out to Long Island, Valley Stream, Long Island, and went to school at Valley Stream High School and the grade schools. I played a lot of baseball in my youth. You know, they had a little league out there. And so I played ball from the time I was, 8 or 9 years old, all the way up through high school. And eventually that team went on to play. We won the Long Island Championship. And I went on to play pro ball, you know. Had a good childhood. I wasn't from a wealthy family, and a lot of my friends had a lot more, but my parents were great and took care of me, and I just couldn't complain, you know.
Yeah. So did you played in high school, obviously?
Yes.
Where in high school did you go?
Valley Stream Central High School.
Valley Stream Central, and that's in
Valley Stream, yeah, in Long Island.
In Long Island, okay.
I had a football scholarship. I wanted to play baseball, and they gave me a football scholarship to the University of Arizona in Tucson, Wildcats.
Wow. But
I was very unhappy. So I was there for, about 6 months, and I played, you know, and then I just took off one day, and I said, that's enough. And then I went back to Valley Stream, and I started pitching in I guess you'd call it semi-pro. A lot of the guys that I had played against in high school were playing there, you know. And I got picked up by the Detroit Tigers. And then I went on from there. Then Houston, the Colt 45s, now they're the Astros, they picked me up. I got to the big leagues in '63 for a while. I didn't have a lot of money behind me, so they sent me to San Antonio, is where they sent the prospects. But then I almost got drafted, so they sent me, in Texas, they put me in a Army Reserve unit. And then I went for that 6-month thing, but I hurt my shoulder. You know, you had to do some of these things. And that basically was the end of my baseball career. I played a few more years, but I lost. I was out of the zone, so to speak, and I lost everything, you know.
Hard to get it back after you've been out for a while, right?
Well, I couldn't. So one day I just said, that's enough, you know. And In fact, the football coach had followed me around. I mean, it's a whole story. It doesn't amount to much. So then my sisters were in Las Vegas, and I was hurting for it. I had to do something with my life because I thought I was going to be a major league star, you know.
Yeah. How old were you at this time? How was you?
I don't know, in my 20s, early 20s.
Early 20s. Okay.
Yeah. So I went out there and I worked as a security guard in the Sahara, and then my brother-in-law at the Tropicana got me started in the stagehands thing, and I worked there, and then I worked at the Dunes for about 15 years.
Who's your brother-in-law?
Bob Smith from the Tropicana.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, he was.
We know Bob. Okay.
You know.
I never put that together with the two of you.
He
Okay.
had married my sister Gloria.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
So then I met Danny Statlander, and I'm going back now. Once I was at the Tropicana, I met Danny, and he was looking for a welder. I was working at a shop, and he was looking for somebody to learn to weld. I said, I'll learn. So I worked at I guess it was at the Dunes for about 6 months. They taught me to weld. I certified, and then he put me on the crew, which aggravated a lot of the old stagehands.
Mm.
Then I worked for Danny on and off at Jetcraft and such, and then eventually I went to A&D Scenery, and I became the shop foreman, and I worked there for probably 15 to, I don't even know, it was a long time. And we built a lot of scenery, a lot of magic tricks for Siegfried and Roy, David Copperfield, just a whole bunch of people, besides the shows, you know. And then I got kind of fed up with them, so I went to work for you at the Hilton. And I was there for I don't know how long.
It was a couple of years.
Yeah. Then I took the carpenter's job at the MGM, and that was a mistake. That was like going to a bad neighborhood. And I was kind of aggressive, and they keyed my car, and I mean, it was tough, but I was there a couple of years. And then I just left. I don't remember actually what happened after that, and I retired and so on, you know.
Yeah, got out of town. Okay.
But that was a tough, man, you had to watch. They push you down the elevator. They were a tough group.
Yeah. And now you live up Central
Utah, yeah.
Utah, just down the street from me in Enterprise. And yeah.
At the Dunes, we did they brought a lot of shows in from England. And we used to have we'd have to reconstruct because they would buy a show and say it was all set, but it wasn't. Nothing would work. And so we'd have to re-rig it, we'd have to rebuild it, you know. But that worked for Abcar and for the stage manager because they made bucks. You know how that worked, you know. Anyway, that's it.
Okay, well, good overview. Now we'll go back in time a little bit. Out of curiosity, you were played pro ball.
Yeah.
You remember what you were making? What were the players back then making?
Oh, nothing. I signed a contract with Detroit for I think it was $500 a month.
Wow.
I play, and back then there was nothing. So then I played in Jamestown against Crane Pool. I played against a lot of guys that went to the big league, Johnny Bench. And then the Colt 45s picked me up. And I went to spring training, and I had a really good spring. I got in good shape. I struck out Willie Mays. I did a lot of
really?
things.
Wow, that's cool.
Well, it's not a big deal, but in other words, so they put me on the big club.
Man, you played against some guys.
Oh yeah, I pitched.
Wow.
In San Francisco against the Giants. I mean, I had some, not great, but some.
Yeah.
Then I almost got drafted. They sent me down because I had no money behind me. I think they paid $8,000 for me. And these other guys now, at that time, they paid $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. Harry Kraft was the manager. He told me, he said, I'd keep you, but I can't. So then I went down to San Antonio, and I pitched there for season, and I did pretty well. I mean, not as well as I'd expected because I was down, I was upset.
Yeah.
Then they almost drafted me. So then they sent me to Texas to this reserve unit, and I went on from there, and that was basically I played in Durham, I played in, different places, but I had nothing left,
So that was obviously for the Vietnam War stuff going on.
Yeah. I still have trouble today with the area in my back. I'm going to a chiropractor and an acupuncture now. I tore a muscle or something back there, and it's been with me ever since.
What was your you had a fastball, obviously. What was
I threw pretty hard. I had a good curveball, and I had a sinker. Back then they called it a screwball. I didn't throw a split ball or anything because I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
My hands are small anyway, so.
How fast was your fastball?
I don't know, but I could throw past almost anybody.
Wow.
I would guess it was well over 90 miles an hour, 95, maybe more. But back then, the only one I ever saw them time was Bob Feller at a spring train, and they had some kind of a setup, and he threw the ball and it went past this thing, and they were able to judge how fast it was. But that was expensive. So
now everybody has the radar gun that just clocks every pitch, and it's not a big deal anymore. Yeah.
This friend of mine that I played with, Paul LaRocca, and then he went to the big leagues for a while. He went to pro ball. He died a couple of years ago. From cancer. He was convinced that this 95 and 100 mile an hour stuff is baloney. That they've cranked up those guns so everybody's amazed at how hard they throw. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw something the other day. Some guy was pitching. I can't remember what team he was on, but he was throwing 105.
Oh yeah, and that's
wow.
Yeah, and Paul, who I love dearly, he was a wonderful guy. He said that can't be, because I threw really hard. He caught me for years, and but they can still, Duke Snyder, when I was a kid, he could swing the bat at 120 miles an hour. So you can't really throw it by them if they're looking for it. But I doubt if anybody can throw like that.
Yeah, that's to me. That's just amazing. I did. I played a little baseball. Never went anywhere big. High schools or anything like that. But I had an arm.
Yeah.
I could throw a baseball over 360 feet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
That's a long throw.
Sure it is.
And my youngest son, when we moved up here to Enterprise, he didn't believe that I could throw. This is 10 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that. Now I'm already pushing towards 50.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I can throw a ball, man. Don't be fooled by your dad. So I went over to next door to my mom's place, and I stood by her garage, and he went to home plate across the street where the baseball fields are. And I said, ready? And I threw it, and it went right to home plate from her garage. I said, well, let's get the tape measure out and see what it was. It was 327 feet or something like that.
Well, yeah.
I'd lost I'd lost a good 20, 30 feet, in from my 20s till then. So
yeah, that was great. Yeah.
He was still like, okay, I got it. You can actually throw. I was like, yeah, I can actually throw a ball.
They don't always believe everything,
Yeah, they don't want to believe. How can this old guy throw anything like that?
Yeah.
All right, I'll show you. That's amazing. What year was it that they were looking at taking you over to Vietnam? What was?
Well, that was in '63. At the end of '63. I got my notice,
Okay.
So I went to him and I said, well, I'm going to be drafted. So at that point, I was really a good prospect. So there was a Army Reserve unit. Now there is no such thing. I think now it's either the Army or the National Guard. And you went in for 6 months, and then you did 6.5 years of like the National Guard.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's what I did. And
So it kept you out of that mess. Okay.
yeah, and I used to feel guilty a little bit, but now that I'm older and wiser, I realize it was a blessing, you know.
Yeah.
I probably would have got killed over there, you know.
What a bad thing. Just how many lives were messed up for nothing. For nothing.
Right, it was a money thing for the government. They
Yeah,
just
it was
made money.
that, and it was just for nothing. Kind of like Iraq, kind of like Afghanistan, all these things.
Exactly,
It's just for nothing. We didn't gain anything.
No.
You know,
We lost a lot of good men.
a lot of good people
Women.
died, and
Oh, yeah.
we spent hundreds of billions of dollars doing this crap. You know.
I lost some good friends over there, you know, and I did get to, I was at Fort Sill, and I did get to meet some of them coming back, and boy, it was tough on them. They were just, I guess it was this PSD thing, you know, but they were just beside themselves for what they'd seen and been through, you know.
Yeah. We see that now. A lot of these
Pretty evil,
guys,
yeah.
these guys are just dropping all over the place from having to be over there. You know, I don't think that the guys from Vietnam on, it was, you know, and this, folks, I'm sorry, this show is not about politics. This is about show business, but we will talk a little bit about this stuff. That my other station, we talk about, my other show, we talk about everything, you know, but the World War I, World War II, our soldiers went over, had traumatic, horrible things happen, but I think they knew who the enemy was.
Yes.
Our guys in the last 50 years, basically, they were amongst the enemy, and they didn't know if this guy was here to kill you, if this was going to blow you up. You know, it plays with your brain.
I could tell you a story. At A&D, I worked with a guy who was a carpenter. Now, he wasn't a stagehand, but he was an excellent carpenter. And he had come back from Vietnam. And he told me his story. Is it okay to talk about? He told me his story. He said he was at one of those outposts, you know, and they were attacked. And when it was all over, they were going around looking at the dead bodies, and the barber that used to shave him every morning was one of those that attacked him.
Exactly. That's
And you know, it was so traumatic, he never got over it. He was an alcoholic. Because he realized this guy had a straight razor as his throat every morning. And so you didn't know who was on whose team. Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing I think of all of it. It's just these guys. There was nothing clear on who the enemy was.
No, waste, terrible.
You know, just a horrible thing there. So, yeah, I'm glad you didn't have to go. I'm glad you stuck around, and
Yeah.
I know you felt, like you said, you felt a little guilty for not going over, and everybody you know went, but you know, almost be grateful you didn't have to.
Oh, I am now.
It's wow. So we're going to continue on talking a little bit. Let me see what time it is one more time here. We got about 5 minutes here, and that'll be the end of the first episode. They go by real quick. So you get talking about stuff, it goes real quick. So didn't go to Vietnam. You had your baseball. Then after baseball was like
Yeah, that was it. And then I used to play softball. We used to have the stagehands had a softball league at 2 a.m. We used to play there. But other than that, it was just work, you know. And I just kept busy. I worked as much as I could. I worked a lot for Al Bash. I worked for you. Pat Huffine, I just thought was amazing. I remember him.
Yep.
I worked with a lot of really talented guys. You know, it's different. It was different then than it is now.
Yes.
When we built a plane that went to, I don't know if you ever heard this, we built a plane that went to Reno to
that was Hallelujah Hollywood Hello. Yeah.
And Pat Huffine was the boss, and I was one of the welders, one of the workers, and we got our rendering but no structure. So we put a bunch of sheetrock on the floor, and we drew it out like that. And then nobody could figure out the wings because we had nothing to go by. So I put strings up, and then I started work, and I learned it because you had to go back. It had to get the struts have to be smaller as you go every so many feet. And once I knew how far I was going to go, I could figure out, and then I built the wings, And it was quite a project. They came to look at it. I don't know if it was TWA.
It was Western.
Western.
Yeah, Western Airlines.
The guy said he was just amazed. If this thing was 10 foot longer than this, it could fly. And Louis
Bradfield?
Yeah. He was the electrician, and it had two 10-horse motors, and the wings would go up and down, and the girls would dance on. It was quite a thing.
Yeah.
But Pat Huffine was just brilliant. He was related to Pat.
The Bashes, it was like their uncle or something like that. Yeah.
But
I'd have to listen to their stories again because Al was talking about it and Pat. They were talking about Uncle Pat. Huffine. So.
But the designers would design something, but it wouldn't work when they got the computers because the computer made things work that wouldn't. Like a ramp coming off a round at an angle had to be longer on one end, and they would, So we had to do a lot of engineering ourselves, and it was just by the seat of your pants. And so stagehands were just, some of these guys were so brilliant. Pete Gabler, I just can't tell you. Mickey Gabler, they could, and they helped me. I learned, Statlander. He would give us some drawings, and we'd because we built some big stuff. You're building over here and building over there and building over there, and then we'd have to put it together, and it would go together 9 out of 10 times. We wouldn't have to do anything. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
So it was. Nowadays, it's computer, and I wouldn't fit in now. I think it's just I'm a dinosaur, But back then, I had a lot of respect for these guys because you just couldn't believe how talented they were, and that's just from working. Pat worked in the oil fields. I don't know what Al did, but he was brilliant, really brilliant, So anyway.
Now we have nobody come back. We'll talk a little bit more about these guys because you worked over there at the shop building the plane. I was over at Design Concepts.
Yeah.
When we were building the San Francisco earthquake thing and all that. But we'll come back. We'll talk a little bit about that.
Okay, yeah.
And then we'll continue on. So until then, I'm going to have my friend take it away. Talbot, take it away.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
Okay, give me 2 minutes to write this up.
I hope that was all right.
Oh, it's going great, man.
Yeah.
We'll talk. We'll start talking more. Get it off me. There we go.
No, what I'm saying is true. These guys today, I don't know what they're doing, but
they don't have to think.
No,
No, they don't have to think about this stuff. They don't have to.
It's just a different.